Hello, I'm Paul Killduff-Taylor from Mode 7. We're here showing Frozen Synapse 2 and Tokyo 42.
And Frozen Synapse 2, that's what you're working on as Mode 7, and you're publishing Tokyo 42.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So Frozen Synapse 2 is the sequel to our 2011 strategy opus, Frozen Synapse 1, as you might well imagine. Tokyo 42 is not the sequel to Tokyo 41. It's a completely original game. It's our first title as a publisher, being developed by a new studio called Smack Games, who are brilliant. So it's great to have both of them here today.
For people that haven't played Frozen Synapse, it's a strategy title. Do you want to sort of explain how it works?
Sure. So Frozen Synapse 2 is a simultaneous turn-based tactical game, and what that means is you make a plan for the next 5 seconds of game time, your opponent does the same thing, and the two plans play out together. Now the major addition in Frozen Synapse 2 is this gigantic procedurally generated city, which sits on top of the tactical layer. So that's kind of the grand strategy element, if you will. You're sent into the city to try and maintain some kind of order between these competing factions and a renegade AI force that is making incursions into the city, and then all the combat is resolved through Frozen Synapse tactics using the same stuff from the first game with a load of new units, some new mechanical stuff as well.
So XCOM, their commander sort of command mode is a good point of reference there. Only where you go into combat, it's all asynchronous, so you have to plan you have to sort of consider what the other person's going to be doing. Is there sort of the same level of sort of upgrading in the hub?
So we're kind of aiming for something that we like to call between XCOM Apocalypse and Crusader Kings 2. So we don't have the kind of insane level of depth as you'd get in a Paradox game in terms of like all the little tiny, lineages and stuff like that. But we have a lot of that stuff in there. But we have the XCOM Apocalypse thing of like it's always clear what your next goal is. You have to respond to this stuff coming in. Now, in terms of things that you can upgrade, you can get money in the game by doing various things. Doing contracts for other factions is one of them. And by virtue of that, you can sign new mercenaries. So your units in this game are cloned mercenaries, and there's a marketplace, kind of like a sports transfer market almost, where they exist, and you can go on there and sign different ones. Some of them have different perks, some have different disadvantages, and there's various classes of unit in this game. There's a huge number of units compared to Frozen Synapse 1. So there's things like flamethrowers, melee units, all different types of thing that you can pick up on the market and add to your squads. You can have as many squads as you like and send them off to different places in the city and balance them however you like once you've signed your mercenaries.
So the perks, is that new to Frozen Synapse? Because previously you had sort of, depending on what weapons your characters had, they had different abilities. For me, rocket launcher was always the one that I got absolutely. Someone would just start the round, a rocket launcher would come and I'd be dead in seconds because the multiplayer was absolutely brutal. So how do the perks add to that?
So they just slightly modify what a unit can do. So some of them might work over a slightly longer range or a slightly shorter range, or they might have sort of various disadvantages that mean in certain encounters they don't do it quite as well. So these are just minor tweaks to the unit that the individual units can have. And then between that you've got some sort of subclasses. So before we had the machine gunner, in this game you have rifles, you have submachine guns, and you have kind of this sort of full original machine gunner. And these are again just slight variations. What we've done is our previous game, Frozen Cortex, we added sort of stats to the units in that and enabled you to have kind of a lot of diversity in terms of the teams you could have. So we're kind of integrating that stuff with the stuff from Frozen Synapse 1, just to give you more options and to give more variation to the units that you have in the game.
It's funny that you just finished a sports game, or at least a variation of a sports game, and then you're using sports terms in this. I think is there some bleed through from that?
I think this game really wouldn't have happened without Frozen Cortex. We learned a lot of lessons doing that game, and I think aesthetically it didn't necessarily resonate with everyone because of that sports aesthetic. So what we've done is we've taken some of the sort of core design stuff that we've learned, some of the cool mechanics we developed, and brought them back into a world that people know, into a style that people know, and we know that there's a big community out there who still like and play FS1. And we really hope that kind of through our sort of design trajectory through the years that we've learned a few things and that we can meaningfully add to Frozen Synapse 1. This is a really in-depth sequel. It's almost a reimagining of the game, so we hope that people respond well to that and they can follow us on that trajectory that we've taken.
And when you're looking to have Frozen Synapse to the public,
So we should have something in a few months that we're going to have. At the moment we have a kind of closed beta, but in terms of full release, we're just keeping that under wraps for now. There might be different stages to the release. We really need to get some feedback now, see what the community thinks of it, and also kind of spec out where we're going to end up for 1.0. There's a lot going on in this game. There can potentially be a lot added to it, so we've got to really work hard to determine exactly when the right moment is to do that big release.
And are you going to be mod friendly?
It's a bit difficult the way that everything's structured to sort of support modding in the way that some other games can, but equally it is something I definitely want to look at in future. You know, if we're building on the game and adding to it, then it would make sense for us to add some systems, and if it's appropriate to do that, then I would personally love to get that out there to modders. It's just a question of whether or not it's technically feasible.
We were talking just now about how long you guys have been in the industry, considering sort of your studio size and your beginnings, and now you're in publishing. And you're publishing Tokyo 42. You're publishing another title soon.
Yeah, we have another title coming out later this year, which we haven't announced yet as well. Yeah, we have been around for a while, and we've just started to kind of use some of our experience and bring that together with other dev teams. And Smack, who are the team who made Tokyo 42, we've really had a great relationship with them in terms of us perhaps being able to guide them on some things that are not necessarily so obvious to first-time developers, and also them showing us some new ways of doing things and their own kind of creative process. So it's been really, really interesting.
Were you surprised that Tokyo 42 got such a, I don't want to say like a huge following already, because it's yet to release, but it's obviously picked up a lot of press because of the style and the way it looks?
We've just been delighted with people's responses to it. I mean, we signed the game because we knew it was very attractive and we knew it would draw people in, and it's kind of an intriguing game. But yeah, we've definitely had a really, really good response from press and from the public at shows like this. It seems to resonate with a lot of different people, you know, from younger gamers through to people who remember the kind of Amiga era, Syndicate, games like that. So it really has managed to cross over. And that's kind of all you can hope for with any game, right, is that it has that ability to hit different audiences. And we're just really excited to actually get it done and get it in front of people properly. So
if you're going to go into publishing, what sort of risk do you think that you're going to become the man? How long before you become the studio that you tried to get away from when you first started Mode 7?
Where is the line between the man and not the man? Well, what's funny is that we very much saw ourselves as outside the games industry when we started. None of us had worked in it. You know, we didn't really have any presence at industry events or sort of know anyone. And then sort of within a few years, people start saying, well, you're really well established and you know this, that, and the other. Nobody really knows what they're doing. It's something I've discovered from working in the games industry now. So I don't really feel that there's any pressure to kind of turn into something that we're not. We still have really strong values about games and the games that we want to make. And we're just kind of extending them to working with other teams. And it's very collaborative. You know, we're not here to kind of become the next EA. That's not what we want to do. We just want to make maximum use of the things we've learned and our skills and the things that we enjoy doing, really. So it really, I mean, that's kind of a terribly earnest answer, but it really is, that's how we're really approaching it. I wish we were more cynical in some ways. That would be easier to talk about.
It's a lot easier to make money as well when you're cynical.
I think so.
Well, possibly. Frozen Synapse and all the games you've worked on and Tokyo 42, they don't have the same style, but certainly in terms of aesthetic, it's very sort of clean, sort of almost cyberpunky at times. Is that something that you sort of look at, and is that going to draw you in as a publisher, or do you think you'll just sort of just play it as it comes?
I think something that we really like is where the visuals of the game really reflect exactly what the player's doing. So in Frozen Synapse, it's not on a grid, you know, you can move waypoints around anywhere. Similarly in Tokyo, you know, the hitboxes really conform a lot to what you see on screen. It's very, very kind of close relationship. And we always like that feeling of player control, that the player is making real decisions. And also just aesthetically, I think things that have a lot of stylization can really stand out. And it's a way that you can compete against games that have very lavish graphics, is if you have a good style and you can fit everything into that. So definitely in terms of what we're looking to publish, that's definitely a theme. You know, if something has its own sense of style, its own creativity, and it's really honest with the player about what it is, that's always going to be something that attracts us.
Well, wonderful. I hope to see more from Mode 7, and we'll find out what you're publishing later this year. Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Lovely. Cheers. Much appreciated.